Let's talk about property taxes. So, Ron DeSantis, I'm not aware of the particulars exactly, wants to change the property tax code for his state. I'll remind you that the man does not have an income tax, um, along with Texas. And what that ends up meaning is that because there is no income tax, that the money has to come from elsewhere. And so it means that excuse me, it means that the property taxes are higher, right? And so they're talking about either doing away with it or making some kind of reform so that people over 65 have to pay less. Now we have this in California, and that's Prop 13. And now, Prop 13, you can take it with you up to some point, and it used to be actually inheritable, and it is now, they did change that, so you can't inherit the tax base. But you have people now in multi-million-dollar homes here who are paying, like minimal amounts of property tax, because when they bought the house was, 175 or whatever, right? And so they're paying, it does increase slightly, but not to the degree that it does now. Not to the degree that it is now. So it's not, anyway, you're paying some base. That's what California did. It seemed like a good idea at the time. Now I've kind of revised my position on it. Obviously, the base problem is the real problem is the money supply and inflation and the debasement of the currency. And that's why it hurts so much, your right, asset inflation. So that's the real thing that has to be fixed, and it is currently in the process of being fixed. So that's why I kind of think this argument is a bit of a moot point. You're fighting over something that's not even going to be a problem in the next 10 years. But I'm being conservative with that. I think it's going to be less. But in the meantime, people have a mistaken belief that your property is yours. And first of all, it's not. And second of all, that's why you're paying taxes. I'm sorry, it's a protection racket. The state has a monopoly on violence. That was the agreement. And the state is therefore the arbitrator of your property rights. And so you're paying the state for your property rights. That's the agreement. It's been like this for 1,000+ years. Read the Magna Carta. I mean, that's the whole thing. We have a history of this, and people don't understand, like, I worked for it, therefore. But if you didn't have this, people could just waltz in and take your property with no recourse. So I'm not the biggest fan of taxation. I think taxation, I'm a little bit more on the MMT side of this now, as far as taxation goes, that taxation is necessary to suck liquidity out of the system. That's kind of my philosophy now, which isn't exactly, I think, what Warren Mosler says, but it's kind of what he said. That's my interpretation of it. And so therefore, again, the problem really is the base money and the fact that the money supply, there's too much money chasing after too few goods, and you get asset inflation. And I'll remind you, I mean, the whole point of all of this, the reason this is happening, and I think maybe we should go back to this again, is, and maybe talk about this again. In 2019-ish, BlackRock wrote a paper basically saying you have to inflate the debt away. That was the basic gist of the paper. And therefore, when COVID happened, that is what the decision was made, like, oh, we can use this as an opportunity to inflate the debt away. But now you're living with the consequences of that idea, which was questionable at best. And I am going to end it there. And let me know what you think about property taxes, and if they're necessary, what you would prefer, what kind of system you would prefer. See you guys later.